everybody, and welcome back to my Eurovision React review channel. So last night was the first night of Festivali Këngës, the music festival whereby the winner will represent Albania at Eurovision. So last night I had it on in the background. I was streaming it, which caused to be quite difficult if anyone did try and stream it last night. As I was packing, as I'm returning back to the UK today for my sister's wedding. And yeah, there was a couple of times whereby the streaming went down, so I had to play around with my laptop. First impressions, it was a long night. I forgot there was 20 songs. It was very evident that they too were having technical issues as well in the stadium, because particularly at the beginning there was issues with microphones. There was a moment when there were 4 presenters, and one of the presenters, one of the guys in the pink suit, he just gets out his phone and starts texting. I don't know who he's texting, because I think at that point the microphones had gone down. Bless them though, they still carried on with obviously a Eurovision princess, Hiena, Albania 2019, being one of the 4. Every time I looked, she seemed to be wearing a different outfit. She looked phenomenal. Yeah, it was an interesting show. I really do like Festivali Këngës on the pure basis that they just have fully embraced the live band. And, you know, whilst I'm not saying that Eurovision needs to bring back the live band exclusively, I do think countries should have the option, because I think some songs would just be elevated with a live band, but I don't think it should be mandatory. Yeah, what can I say about last night? There's just a lot of just kind of average songs in this year's mix. I actually hadn't listened to any of the songs prior to this. I had intended to listen to them for the first time watching night 1. So I actually didn't know. I knew based on social media that there were like a handful of names that people kept kind of referring to. So I made sure I looked out for that. But because obviously I was packing and stuff, I did notice that they do the name at the beginning before they start singing, and then the name goes. There was a couple of times where I had absolutely no idea who was singing, but it didn't really matter, because for the first part, it just got a bit monotonous. The song sounded a little bit dated. At no point did I think, I'm gonna stop packing and really listen. Song 11, I think, a female called Olympia, I think that was the first time where I stopped packing and I watched the TV, but it didn't really get going. Even like, for me, last year, Mirud was like one of my favourites of all national final songs last year. And I was looking at my Spotify kind of 2021 most listened to songs, so I was really surprised how high that song was. I still listen to it now. So he was on second. I was really looking forward to Mirud's song, and that for me just didn't pop, it didn't stand out. But I really did struggle to get into the show, and I'm gonna be brutally honest, it wasn't until Ronela came on, so song 17, so I've gone through 16 songs at this point. I was struggling with streaming, evidently technical issues in the studio, trying to pack. This was a song that I've seen loads on social media. As soon as I heard the music, I kind of stopped what I was doing. I looked, I recognized her face. I was like, because I'd missed the name, the introduction. And I was like, oh, this must be Ronela then. So I sat down, and I can understand 100% the hype behind this song. Like, as I said, I'd gone up to 16 songs prior to this, being like, oh my goodness, there's not even one song here that I would be sure if Albania selected it, it would qualify. We finished off with number 20. Well, Alban comes on. So again, I missed his name, but again, I looked at the TV screen, I saw his face, I was like, oh, that's the other one people were talking about. Because generally, from what I was seeing, it was basically Alban and Ronela, and then there are people like me who just like Mirud, and so who I guess was just name dropping him this year because there are quite a few Eurovision fans who like him. And so yeah, it was a good end to the show. I can't necessarily say that I remember that one as much. In all seriousness, from those 20 songs, in my opinion, there are only really 2 that I think Albania should take really seriously. And that really does upset me, because as I said, I do like Mirud. I just think his song this year just isn't as strong as Ronela's, certainly. And I need to listen to Alban's again. I think after 20 songs, I was a little bit worn down by the time I got to Alban's. So what I'm going to do this morning, before I head off for my flight, is I'm going to just listen to Ronela's and Alban's again, because it was very evident last night that those two are the standouts. So I'm going to listen to them both again with my full attention whilst I'm not packing, and kind of just see which one out of these two do I, am I backing for the win, should we say? Okay, Ronela, Sekret. The one thing I will say from last night is the one thing Festivali Këngës delivers year on year is just flawless vocals. Everyone could sing last night, but you expect that by now. See, I quite liked this because I knew that this was a bit of a bop, a dance floor number, and it starts off really ethnically. Look how serious she looks. I love the intensity. There we go, here we go. You've got your ethnic instruments. So obviously she won't be allowed this many dancers on stage at Eurovision if she gets selected. Very Ruslana wild dancers there. I've seen a few people have posted the streaming show last night on YouTube. Watch it so you understand by the time you get to this song, you just breathe. You're like, oh. Sigh of relief. It's modern, it's current, it has like little mix energy. I just love ethnic beats to pop music. There is so many filler songs this year in Festivali Këngës, just average songs that sound just a bit dated. This is the complete antithesis, opposite of that. Ethnic pop is my vibe. And she can sing live with a bloody good voice. I applaud Albania as well for normally sending an ethnic song. So many countries now are not doing that. That should bring songs that sound from their region. See, that's what I mean. Those 3 minutes, I didn't necessarily want those 3 minutes to be over, and not once was I bored. There were so many different elements in regards to the performance, so many different elements in regards to the production of that song. Ethnic beats, tick. Current pop, tick. Live vocal, which with choreography as well, tick. It's quite interesting, last year when Angela won, she had dancers and it just didn't work. I'm so glad at Eurovision she was just there on her own, because it just didn't fit. The dancers fits with this. And obviously with Festivali Këngës, because they're fully embracing the live band, sometimes with kind of pop music, pop produced in a studio production, sometimes with the live band it can just dilute the sound of it, so when it goes back to being a studio cut on stage, it's just going to be elevated. Honestly, I cannot tell you, last night when this song came on, I was just like, oh my goodness, thank God for Albania, because up until that point there was just nothing popping, wowing on stage. And I was sitting there being like, this is a long evening. And that's not to discredit any of the previous performers. Obviously, that's not my job. I don't want to do that. I couldn't do it. I couldn't write a song to be there on that stage. But obviously, this is normally the first kind of national selection of the Eurovision season. Ironically, it will probably be, by the time this gets selected, the third song that gets selected. So it's always, for Eurovision fans, a kind of focus point. And again, Albania is a country that hasn't won Eurovision yet. So for that reason as well, I think a lot of people root for Albania. I really like that song. I think that for me is a no-brainer at this point. So let's have a look at Alban. Okay. I remember him touching his earpiece a few times last night, like he had sound issues. Still got a good vocal though. That's one thing I noticed last night. Albanians rock a beard. There were some really good groomed males last night, singers and in the band, and presenters. Like his medieval peasant vibes in regards to what he's wearing. No shoes, classic. So he's got a huge following, right? When I was searching for this video, I could see that one video of this song that released a few weeks ago had over 1 million views. Well, with that vocal, I'm not surprised. An ethnic instrument there, I quite like it. Wind instrument. It's not instantaneous, which concerns me a little bit. Okay, we're coming to a climax now. It's getting dramatic. And he's performing his little socks off. Pardon the pun, he's got no socks, he's barefoot. I mean, I'm humming along to it. Oh, and then we've got the backing vocals in the background. Oh no, do I like this? I think I've been a bit harsh. It's building. Honestly, compared to the other songs last night. I mean, that's interesting because after Ronela's, there wasn't the hook that I was repeating or was able to repeat. Well, that one I can. Okay, so at the end of the day, we got that by the 20th song. There are 2 songs, and I'm not even following the hype. The reason why there is hype around these 2 songs is because they are streets above the rest of them. This one and Ronela's just sounds more current, more fresh, more of an expensive package. Which one do I prefer? In all honesty, Ronela's. But that's not to discredit this one. I know he's got a huge fan following, which is going to help him massively. So I think for me, Ronela is a good choice. Ronela is a strong song. I would really like that to be selected. I've got my fingers crossed for Ronela. We've got a few more days, right? There's 3 nights, I think. So we will see, watch this space. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Please let me know what you think below. Who's your favourite this year in Festivali Këngës? And if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to my channel. Please click the notification button so you're informed if and when I post videos in the future. And until next time.